All right, recording is started. This is the April 4th, 2024 Crossplane community meeting. I will, as always, drop a link into the Zoom chat right now that will take folks directly to the agenda document. If you want to join us in there, you can add yourself as an attendee, and you can also add any particular topics that you want to discuss to the agenda. It looks pretty big, but it's actually not that long of agenda here. So there's definitely time to talk about anything the community folks want to hear about. So feel free to add any suggestions. All right. So let's jump into the recent releases, and we'll move on to our next release. So since we met last time, because we did not meet on the 21st, because that was right in the middle of KubeCon Paris week, so we have not met in 4 weeks now. So there was one patch release I'm aware of, and there is another patch release that is expected to go out tomorrow, I believe is the timing. So let's just take a quick look at this. The 1.15.1 patch that went out a couple weeks ago. One of the biggest things to note there, if you are a adopter of the usage feature, which lets you track dependencies between resources and making sure that a resource being depended on by another resource cannot be deleted until that dependency is done. In that, if you have been using it in its alpha state so far, it can have some fairly lengthy delays for being able to clean up all resources and get everything deleted. So Hassan went through there and added basically the ability for deletions to be replayed so that deletions can happen much more quickly. If you look at the source issue here, I think it was making a claim. Here we go. This one that that cleanup would sometimes take up to 15 minutes of things. And I think somebody chimed in as well that there was like 45 minutes or something for them. So that has been solved in the 1.15.1 release. And I don't know if I can't remember if I heard feedback on it or not, but if folks are still seeing issues with that, do let us know. But that is a big improvement with the 1.15.1 release. There are also some fixes around migrations and being able to change the group name during a migration from one provider to another that affects multiple people going from previous providers to the object generated one. So that'll be helpful as well. All right, 1.15.2 is expected to release tomorrow. I think this is basically just a process task issue for it with the date. It doesn't have actually the content of it. So let's look at the diff right quick, which might be a challenging view to look at, but what is the important stuff in this release? All right, so providers will be able to, by default, without the user taking any manual steps, to be able to get metrics without intervening. So that will be nice. And I think Philippe had a Bob also. Were you involved? Look, your name's on here, Bob. Do you know or have a quick summary of these particular issues that will be included in 1.15.2?
Yeah, so that's actually I guess, I mean, I consider it a regression back in 1.14. I don't know if anybody else does. Just when the composition function rework went in, it kind of changed something that we were depending on that maybe we shouldn't have been depending on. And basically, if you had patches that were failing, where in the old world it would just skip those resources and go on and do, the rest of the work. Now it would just fail the whole reconcile, and it would just never get out of that state. And so this kind of brings that functionality back in terms of it looks at resources individually, and it will skip those resources if their patching fails. But it will allow the whole reconcile to continue. So that basically, if you're depending on if you're depending on patches succeeding other places before they can succeed in a particular resource, that will now work again. So that this was actually the reason we never upgraded to 1.14. We were waiting for this. So.
Nice. Okay, yeah, that's actually I had forgotten about that myself, so I'm glad you all were driving that. And that is definitely important to get that situation of behavior back to the way it was previously working before. And it looks like that was backported to not only 1.15 but also 1.14 branch as well.
Yeah, I don't know
Excellent.
if we ever, I don't know if we ever finished the backport to 1.14, but
Ah,
I
let's
should look at that.
yeah, Bob, if you can do me a favor, since I can't do it right now while I'm
Yeah, I'll take a look.
running this. Yeah, if you could check with Philippe and make sure that gets backported, and we also then do a 1.14 patch release as well, that would be great.
Yep.
Awesome. Thanks, Bob. Okay, sweet. So then that's the patch releases, and now the next big release that we're working on, 1.16. The time frame for that is not that long away, actually. Early May is the time frame for a quarterly release that we'd be expecting there. So there's a bunch of things going on the roadmap and some decently sized designs and features that are in flight as well. So let's take a kind of a status look into those to kind of make sure we understand what's going on. And then there are some opportunities for folks to get involved that haven't yet gotten involved as well. So we can kind of make this 1.16 milestone even bigger. No, not this one. This one I think I want. Oh, no, wait, I did want that one also. Sorry. All right, let's try to be quick about this. All right, so there are a few big features going on here. So one is Dalton is driving a feature to be able to more clearly communicate and have more control over what errors can in events or whatever conditions, like what information gets bubbled up to a claim through a composition. That's been a classic problem in Crossplane for it could be difficult to figure out what's going on at the claim level. And so this will give control to the authors of the composition, providers, whatever, to be able to specify what errors, what messages, et cetera, to get up and surface on the claim so that folks, if there's actionable information there or something that the claim author can do, they'll have insight into that. Most often, the experience you get for a claim is that it's waiting on the composite resource or the children of that composite resource to get ready. That's all the information you have. This would make that experience much more clear of here's the problem and here's something you can do about it. So that is a kind of one of the bigger and more impactful features going on in 1.16 right now. We will talk about native secret store support later on in this call. We have a dedicated agenda item to it, so let's skip over that for right now. Ezgi is working on metrics and observability, and she has a demo for it later on in this agenda. So I think we could probably focus on that then, Ezgi, and you can have the whole stage then. We'll be continuing our efforts on improving developer experience. I expect at this point that 1.14 and 1.15 were much more impactful releases for moving the developer experience tooling and in overall scenarios that are possible in Crossplane forward than 1.16 will be, but there are still ways to move the needle there that we would like to do. And we already talked about how deletion can take a very long time that has been fixed in a patch release, but will of course be included in 1.16 as well. And then one final big feature here that we're focusing on that Terj is driving is around being able to express in the status of Crossplane resources when something is being updated as well. Currently, we focus on when something is ready and when something is synced, but there isn't a great way to capture if an ongoing update or if something is happening to the resource later on in the life cycle, which could be confusing for folks. So that is a design right now that's we'll be working on kind of driving that towards a good solution that works for all. But these are the high level areas of focus in 1.16. The board here is pretty busy, but it is actually up to date. So we're not going to go through everything here. That would be too much status to go through. But I did want to focus on, actually, let's look at a different view of this here. Let's look at this here, where in 1.16, these are the issues that are in the milestone but don't yet have owners. So we kind of talked about the high-level goals of the milestone, and those all do have owners, but then these are the P0, P1 issues that do not have owners right now still. So if folks have interest in these issues in particular, these ones will be the most impactful, the highest value issues that we have for 1.16, but yet don't have owners to drive them. So anyone in the community who is willing or excited about these issues here, they are open for anyone to take them on, and they will have impact as well. I'll take a pause here to see go back to this busy view. Anything that folks want to bring up for 1.16 in terms of status or questions or anything like that? Nick, quick question to you, dude. Did you get one of our lovely community members has started on a proposal to essentially be able to have Crossplane work more smoothly when it's running on a host network. And I believe that was in response to a number of folks recently running into issues with EKS and being able to, have webhooks working correctly or other networking related things working well on EKS. Did you get any more information, Nick, on if that's all a coincidence, if something that we changed broke something, or any other insight on that?
No, I haven't followed up on that.
Okay, cool. I am interested to see then that if that design helps kind of remediate that situation or makes it more possible for folks to run in environments like that smoothly. Okay, so key takeaway here is that 1.16 has a lot going on. A lot is already in the done column, and then a lot is in flight right now, either in progress or in review. And there are a few big designs and big impactful features going on right now as well. So we're getting closer to the end of the milestone, so we will definitely want to keep driving these as we can to get them to completion and ready to ship in 1.16. So that'll be probably the next big focus area until we get to the next community meeting. We'll be driving all this stuff to completion. All right, John, I will let you take it away for provider updates.
Yeah, so I'm certainly not going to go through all the individual providers there, but I'll maybe just call out a lot of folks have asked us in the past for API call counts. And we now finally on provider AWS have that available. We do plan to roll that out to GCP and the Azure provider as well. But unfortunately, we just kind of like switch priorities to focus on the metrics work, which actually takes me to the investments area there. We're focusing on MR metrics in the providers at the moment. This builds off of the work that Eski is going to demo a little bit later, and we'll keep expanding on that set of data that we'll make available for folks. And then just a early heads up, we're working on a API simplification where we'll be looking to convert one element arrays as objects in the object generated providers, which should simplify things and make it easier with server-side apply. And then as we come closer to the 12th of June, we'll continue to post this message when we do provider releases and the community call that we have deprecated the monolithic package back when we started doing family providers, and we said we will keep publishing it for 12 months. And that time period is coming up in June. And after that date, we will no longer publish new monolithic packages to the marketplace. So yeah, that's us.
Cool. Thanks, John, for the updates on providers there. And as John mentioned, we skipped over, there's a whole bunch of recent provider releases that I could find just scrolling through the announcements channel. So there are links to them here that folks can follow and get the latest updates on all those different providers too. In a similar vein, there is a bunch of interesting content around Crossplane as well that is being produced and published out there within the ecosystem. One of the things I wanted to call out, I guess we'll talk about it later too, but the recordings from KubeCon Paris are already up. I think that was the fastest they've ever published them. So all the talks from KubeCon Paris are available, and I did not link them in here. I forgot to do that. But the first one here is the intro and deep dive talk that goes through some of the latest stuff in Crossplane. Most of you folks in this audience are probably pretty aware of that stuff, but if you're interested in it, that is a good video to check on. Something I missed in this with all this awesome content is Victor has been continuing to his tutorial series around Crossplane. I think Victor, are you up to like the 5th in this series now, I think, number 5?
Yeah, number 5, and that's it until a new feature graduates to beta.
Okay, sweet. So the beginning of everything you need to know about Crossplane right now is completed. I will then follow up, Victor, to add links to them here in the agenda document, because I think those are super impactful videos. And I've kind of already been sharing them with people as well for resources to get started with Crossplane. So thanks for doing that series, dude.
Sure.
Sweet. Okay, yeah, so lots and lots of awesome content in here. People can peruse through that as they wish. Next item is that, yes, as we mentioned, a few of us were in Paris 2 weeks ago, I guess, for KubeCon, and my assessment was that event was super successful. We got to do a number of activities there. The maintainer talk was super well attended. They actually filled up a 500-person room and had a line of people down the hallway that unfortunately or regrettably did not get in to the talk. So, it was popular enough that people couldn't get in. And then the Project Lightning talk that Ezgi and Lovro did was also super successful, with lots of people in attendance of that too. So we got many chances to show off Crossplane. We had the booth with the kiosk and the Project Pavilion was super fun. We got to connect with tons and tons of people and got more validation about what we're doing, good feedback about what people want to see. So super high value to be in Paris and with people, and really appreciate it, and grateful for that opportunity. Did anybody have anything they want to share from their experience at KubeCon, or thoughts or observations that they had? Victor, how many talks did you have? Anything that you saw or learned that you want to share with us, dude?
In Paris or KubeCon proper?
KubeCon proper.
Then 2. That's the maximum.
Oh, okay. Okay, Paris as a whole then.
4 or 5, not sure.
Any lessons from any of those?
I don't know. I mean, KubeCon Crossplane keeps being very popular. So yeah, I mean, all the talks were very, very well attended.
Sweet.
Victor's book signing was also very well attended, to be honest.
That's right. Yeah, Victor, I ordered one, and I think it got delivered to my house in California, and I'm here in Europe. So I'm just eagerly awaiting to get back to California and start reading that book.
Come on, if you need to read that book, then we have a problem here with you leading Crossplane. We have a certain
there's always
problem we need to
refreshers,
discuss.
right? There's always refreshers. All right, so as the KubeCon treadmill continues on, in the same spirit we've seen before, the CFP for the next KubeCon is already open. So if people have proposals or talks that they want to submit there, folks can already do that. Looks like it's open for 2 months. It does not close until June 9th, so there's plenty of time to work on talks and get them in there. I've already chatted with a number of people that are submitting something for Crossplane, and I am, as I say every time, I am very available to either give feedback or review your proposal or brainstorm, whatever. If you want to talk about a proposal, I have certainly cycles to do that. And I can also connect folks with together if you want to do joint talks or have a co-speaker. Feel free to connect with me about ideas you have, and then maybe I can connect you with somebody else who's interested in the same thing.
By the way, there are actually 3 pending KubeCons. There is also one in China and another one in India, if anybody is interested.
Oh yeah, nice. Are those are all before North America, right, Victor?
I don't remember. So China is August. I don't remember when is North America. Probably before.
No,
India
North
is in
America is
December.
early November, I think. So it'll be after China.
Okay, so China, then Salt Lake City, then India.
Okay, cool. Nice. Lots of opportunities. Cool. All right. So yeah, let's move on from KubeCon. So we did want to surface this issue here and make it available for feedback and for folks to be able to share their opinions. So the external secrets store support that we've had an alpha level of maturity for a number of releases now. We have opened a proposal here to deprecate that functionality. So I think the Nick, as always, wrote up a very good write up here with a lot of the details. The short of it though is that the external secrets operator I think that's what it's called, right? That basically does the functionality that the internal Crossplane one does. So it's not necessarily a great investment for Crossplane to continue building on that or continue investing on that when there's something from the ecosystem that does this scenario and probably does it in a more complete way. So that's kind of the thinking there, is that why continue to do this in Crossplane when there is a broader ecosystem effort covering this functionality? And Nick, is there anything you wanted to add to that thinking there? That was a very brief summary of it.
No, not really. Sorry, I'm just getting back to my desk. I've been running around doing errands while all this meeting's been going on. But yeah, that was a good summary.
Cool. Yeah. So this proposal here is something that we want to either move forward on like marking it as deprecated in 1.16 and then removing it in a later release. We would not remove the functionality in 1.16. This is to mark it as deprecated and remove it at a later milestone. But we would love to hear from folks of if you were using this, if there's reasons you wouldn't be able to use the external secrets operator, all that sort of stuff. Get a gut check here on impact to the community, essentially. So feel free to share your opinions on it. I know that somebody has already chimed in with their usage of it, and folks are welcome to do that as well.
Yeah, sorry, now that I'm at my desk, I will reiterate. I think you said this, Jared, but no functionality overall should be lost in this change. As in, if you are currently writing secrets to Vault using this, for example, which I think is the only thing it can do at the moment, it is still possible to write secrets to Vault. You would just use external secrets operator, a different tool, instead of Crossplane's native plugin.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. All right. So as again, I'm going to move this down one real quick because this next one here should take no time at all, and then I'll let you end us on a high note. All right, so I was thinking that there's probably not a strict necessity to do a community meeting every 2 weeks, which is the cadence we've been doing it for a very long time, for multiple years now. We do release this quarterly, and so every 3 months essentially. And I was thinking that it could be reasonable to do a community meeting essentially 1 time a month. So 3 times we would get together during each release, as opposed to 6 times. So I wanted to just basically the ask here is that if anybody here at this community meeting, the folks that do regularly attend, if you have any feedback or pushback of that's a terrible idea, don't do that, or that's you kind of agree to it or sorry, support it or whatever, that'd be great to know. I will follow up to do like a bigger poll with the community as a whole on Slack or Twitter or whatever to get more feedback on it, or GitHub issue, I don't know, whatever, something like that. But does anyone here have a strong opinion on that immediately that's at this meeting today?
I think one of the things that would be good if we do switch to like a monthly cadence is, we can probably do a bit more focus on demos and work in progress previews and so on.
Yeah,
I definitely, I don't feel strongly, and I haven't back channeled with anyone else on this, but I think it's reasonable to change to a monthly cadence, especially because we already have a pattern in place for SIG special interest group meetings. And those, I believe, happen every 2 weeks, or actually maybe it's just whenever people set them up, at the discretion of the SIG runners. But, if there's a real specific thing that you want to keep up with, like how's composition functions going, how's developer experience going, et cetera, there are Slack channels for that, meetings for that, all that kind of thing. So that, to me, I think lowers the pressure on this. This does end up being a bit more of like monthly announcement, announcements kind of thing, rather than more in-depth conversation these days.
That's a good point, Nick. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Cool. Okay, so I'll follow up to see if to get some other input on that. But that's nice to hear that nobody thinks that's a crazy idea or is violently against it. All right, Ezgi, it is up for you now to share your work on high-level metrics so far. So I'll stop sharing, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Jared. So let me share. I think you can see my screen.
Yep, you can see GitHub.
Perfect. So this is the PR. It is still under review, so things may change in near future. Don't expect to see everything will be there exactly as it is. This PR is on top of another open PR, which actually records the drift catches done in the managed resource reconciler. I have cherry-picked that commit and started work on adding new metrics. So these are the metrics I have introduced. The first one is actually a way of counting existing managed resources. So for each managed resource created, I am sending this metric with value 1. And when that managed resource is deleted, I am setting the value to 0. So if we sum up all these metrics, we can get the number of managed resources existing on the cluster. The second one is kind of similar to the first one, but it focuses on the managed resources with ready true state. The third one is the ready sync state. Fourth metric is about first time we have detected that managed resource. So in the reconciliation loop, if we detected a MR which is recently created, we are just calculating the time until we reconciled on that resource based on the creation time, and then sending that value to Prometheus. This metric is about how long does it take for an MR to become ready. So again, we are only sending this metric once per MR. We are not updating it through the switches because sometimes there might be an hiccup or an update on the managed resource which ends up in ready false state. We are not focusing on that kind of metrics at this moment. This is just for the first time readiness. This one is about how long does it take to delete an MR. Again, we are checking the deletion timestamp and the time until we are removing the finalizers. This calculates the time between. And this one is already coming from the commit I have mentioned. This is constantly observing the managed resource, checks whether it's up to date or not, storing the time it's up to date. And whenever it notices a change, it calculates the drift time until we can catch and records that value. To be able to visualize these metrics, I have prepared some dashboards. These are still in progress because I'm not that good at Grafana. So what I'm going to show you is a subset of this visualization boards. What I have in here is I am demonstrating the total number of managed resource count. Here you can see there are ups and downs. In here, I am visualizing it based on the claims. So I had currently 3 claims, and these claims have these many managed resources. This is the number of ready MRs and ready false MRs. Again, for synced, these are the deleted MR counts and how long does it take to delete an MR in average. And this is for the drift one. So I'm just going to create another claim and we can observe the differences in this dashboard. Okay, let's give Prometheus a couple of seconds. And refresh.
While waiting for that, SG, will this be published on Grafana dashboards? You know that in Grafana there is a section with dashboards so that anybody can download, right?
Yeah,
Nice.
definitely. Once we have finished everything and visualize everything, we can definitely publish that. So as you can see, the new claim is created. There are 11 managed resources at this moment and none of them is ready. unsynced when I refreshed it. Let's refresh one more time. Now a couple of them are synced and we are waiting for them to become ready. So we can immediately understand what's going on from this dashboard. One challenge I had is these kind of metrics are really hard to send in the reconciliation loops because this is not an HTTP server running constantly, and we are not just counting HTTP requests. We are reconciling on MRs each time, and I had some issues sending those MR metrics only once, for example. I don't want to count the same MR twice, right? For each time we reconcile, I don't want to increase that number. So that was a little bit challenging to me. There might be better ways of visualizing these metrics, so modeling these metrics. So I'm open to any suggestions. This is first time I am working on such a topic, so any ideas, suggestions are welcome.
I guess my comment would be to have the opposite kind of MRs that are not ready, right? And things like
These are
that.
the big numbers in here, so easy to visualize because in here, if you want to see the value, you need to go exactly to that point, but we can catch.
It's my bad. I just now read that it's MRs in ready false. That's the not ready, right? Too. Okay.
Not ready and not synced. We can also add some alerting rules if, I don't know, managed resources are not synced for more than 3 minutes, then send us an alert kind of stuff. These can be modeled as well. Yeah.
I guess my question is about X metrics, which is, you know, what a lot of people are using today. And you can get like resources, like you could filter by like MR types. Is that kind of data being exposed here, or is this just like the higher level overall?
We have group version kind labels, so you can also filter by the kind. So it is possible to have that information visualized. So these are the labels I am using at this moment. So it can be filtered by claim or kind.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Is it just kind or group version kind? Like for instance, if I have a V1 alpha 1 and a V1 alpha 2, is it distinguishable?
I think Prometheus queries support regex. So with group version kind, you can also have that support with 2 different versions. You can query those values.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, that was
And
all.
then just a quick question. Did we already graph durations until resources are ready? Or did we just have the counts on the dashboard?
I don't have it right now, but it is possible to visualize those things. I just couldn't find a meaningful way of visualizing those values. So I have average in drift catch, for example, or deleted average in seconds. We can do something similar for the readiness, time to readiness thing. But I don't know. I don't think this average value is that meaningful. So I am working on a nicer graph to visualize those values.
Yeah, I'm happy to collaborate on that with you.
Perfect.
Awesome, Ezgi. Thanks for showing this off for us here. And so then the status of this is that there's an open PR on the Crossplane runtime repository. That's where that is, right?
Yes, Crossplane runtime.
Cool. All right. Okay, cool. So that's everything that was in the agenda doc for today. Is there anything else that folks wanted to bring up before we adjourn? Right. Cool. Well, that's it then. Cool. So we've got a couple follow-ups here and we're working towards 1.16. So we'll definitely be focusing on that in the upcoming weeks. But good to see everybody. Thanks for showing up and we'll see you online. See ya.
Thanks.